you like me and you're sick and tired of the animals eating your tulips? Well, for the last several years, I don't bother putting tulips outside anymore. I actually really enjoy growing them in containers. It's very easy to do. Let me show you how. First of all, let's talk about the type of container that you need. You can use any type of container as long as there's a drainage hole or holes in the bottom, and you need at least 10 inches deep of soil. You can have more than that, but at least 10 inches. In terms of what we are going to grow it in, we are going to grow our tulips in something that does not hold a lot of water. We need well-drained, light potting soil. And I really want you to try hard to get out there and find a potting soil that does not have any peat in it. P-E-A-T, peat moss. Peat moss is not a sustainable resource. We're depleting bogs in order to get it. So I'd rather you use a compost-based potting soil. And I don't want you using anything like clay or topsoil. They're going to hold a lot of water. And we're going to put these containers out in a cold garage or a shed somewhere because tulips won't bloom unless they have about 14 weeks of cold. And if we plant tulip bulbs in heavy clay or topsoil and we need to keep it wet, that is going to rot the bulbs, okay? So a nice light potting soil, preferably one that does not have peat in it. I'm going to plant this really nice orange tulip. We're going to plant them pointy side up. The roots are going to come out of the round part at the bottom. We're going to plant them very tightly together, and we're going to bury them about 5 inches deep. So the tip of the bulb only about 5 inches deep. So I have filled up this container about halfway because when I plant the bulb pointy side up, that should be about 5 inches beneath the soil. Okay, so I'm just kind of getting a gauge. I want to make sure that I plant them deeply enough. Okay, and we want to pack these in very closely. I'm going to put about 15 bulbs in this one container. That's going to give me a nice full arrangement when they bloom. And now we're going to top them up with that nice light potting soil. Now I've left myself about an inch deep lip here so that as I'm watering, I don't want the soil running off. Give the container a nice deep soak. So I'm going to put these in an unheated garage. We need temperatures to be between 35 and 50 degrees Fahrenheit in order to mimic that cold winter season. Tulips need to stay in that cold period for 14 weeks. They can go longer than that, but that's the minimum. If you're doing daffodils or hyacinths, which I'm going to do in a different container, they need less time than tulips, but they can go longer. So I'm going to put all of this out together in early mid-December. So this is probably the only time you're actually going to need to water. I give one good soaking right at the time of planting. So I'm going to put these out in the garage, not in direct sun, on the ground where it's going to be the coldest. That's going to be your best place to store these. I'm going to check every couple of weeks and just kind of touch the soil with my hand and just make sure it's not fully dry in there. It normally is not going to fully dry out. If you notice this is really, really dry, then you can go out and give a couple of cups of water to your container while it's in the garage. But we don't want this to be swampy and wet for a long period of time. We need moisture, but we don't want soggy. That's going to cause a problem with your bulbs rotting through the winter. Now, once you see the plants start to sprout, by the time you get about a 2-inch high stem coming out, that's when you want to move them into a sunny but also cold location. So I have a window in my garage where I will keep them in the cold temperatures, but they're now starting to get sunlight. When those green plant parts start emerging, they need sunlight in order to grow. We put them in that cold, bright window for about 7 to 10 days, and then they're ready to go outside. So for Chicago here, that's about late March. And if a deep freeze is coming, less than 15 degrees Fahrenheit, we're going to bring them back into the garage overnight because we don't want the full soil and plant freezing like that. Now, don't panic if you start to see little green, little leaf tips starting to pop out. They're just getting themselves established. It doesn't happen all the time, but every now and then it does. Don't panic. That doesn't mean that the plant's about to bloom too early, all right? It knows what it's doing. Trust the plant. Keep it under 50 degrees, but not below 32, and you're going to be fine. It's time to put your plants outside. Remember to place your containers in a sunny location and water because the plant is in growing season. Check out the caption for the link to my website where I have an easy to download PDF with all the details about how to force bulbs like tulips.